Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, we're going to be soloing the hardest version here in the what's it called? The Frostbiter version of Doom Tower. The hardest version, Doom Tower Hard. We're going to be soloing Borgoth the Scarab King with Tomb Lord, which is really awesome. Let us dive in. Let's check it out. This is very much a follow-up to my Tomb Lord guide I did, I think last week, right? Last week. But yeah, let's go into it. So you can see on wave 1, we do bring in 2 nukers. We got Vlad and Ethos here. These can really be any nukers that are not going to be weak hitting these waves, so you can do whatever you want, right? I'm bringing in Vlad though. Ethos dies on the first wave because War Chief. So we bring in Vlad to sort of cover and at least get some damage in. He might get a hit in here. Yeah, looks like Vlad's going to go again. Good man, Vlad. Boom. There we go. Helps us knock down the waves. We're through the waves in 30 seconds. You don't need to bring those nukers in. You could have Tomb Lord solo the waves if you want to. But I feel like there's no reason not to bring them in and just get a little bit of extra value, you know? So why not? If they die on the waves, it actually makes the run a bit easier. You get to this boss and you'll never drop below half health. But yeah, as you can see, we're just going to start slamming this boss. The poisons and stuff are going to start building up, and that's going to do all the damage. It's absolutely fantastic. This is very like the Tomb Lord build. It's almost identical, with one big change from the Tomb Lord guide I did last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago. And in that Tomb Lord guide, what was the point of that? What was the point of this exact build on Tomb Lord? This is a build that can solo Dragon 25, the entire dungeon. He solos the whole dungeon in 2 to 2.5 minutes. It's a really quick solo, and you can put in champions you want to level up, and you can run Dragon stage 25, and this Tomb Lord rips through it super fast, probably faster than most people's real teams do. He can do it faster than that, and while also getting a bunch of XP for other champions. So you can double dip in like Dragon and Champion training tournaments and events. If they're on at the same time, do them both at once. Whenever you're doing your Dragon tournament, level up a whole bunch of champions to feed as food when the next Champion training comes along. It's absolutely fantastic. I think it's actually the best way to do Dragon. He can almost solo stage 23 of Ice Golem with this build. The second wave is kind of dodgy, so I'd need some Faction Guardians or empower him to like +1 or +2. Just get a bit better gear, that sort of stuff. You can see that in my Tomb Lord guide. You can see how it works, and it's so close to working now. Maybe with this bloodshield accessory he could do it, but yeah, it's this exact same build. So with this build, you can come in and destroy Dragon 25, and now you can destroy floor 100 of this tower as well. Bloodshield accessory, look at this. Look at his buff bar. Every time he attacks, you can't even see the shield on his health bar. It is so small. But having a bloodshield accessory, that's why I'm doing this video. I just got one for Knights Revenant in CVC this week. Bloodshield accessory, that tiny shield stops the Scarab from counterattacking you every time you attack, which obviously saves a bunch of time. You don't have to sit through all those animations of Scarab attacking every time you attack. But more importantly, it gives you the survivability to be able to easily solo this boss. With this exact build, minus bloodshield, you are not able to solo floor 100, but you can solo the lower floors. Like you can solo all of Doom Tower normal. You can solo then the first 2 versions, like was it maybe floor 20, floor 50? I don't know, something like that. Whatever it is, you can solo all the other versions of the Scarab boss anyway, but you cannot solo the top one. You simply take too much damage, right? You simply die to damage. But Bloodshield, it lets you do it. You can see when we get below half health, by the way, we start to get extra turns whenever we use his A3. And it stacks up the poisons faster, and the run really speeds up and gets going. One of the absolutely fantastic things about this, the champions I've used to solo this boss before I got this Bloodshield accessory, literally a couple of days ago, I was using Euros the Soul Cage. He's the second champion you get from Doom Tower Hard Secret Rooms, so it's quite far into Doom Tower. And he does it for me in the same time that Tomb Lord does it, the same time. Although Euros is unbooked, he might be slightly faster when booked, but not enough to make a big difference, I don't think. But he is built specifically for that, and because Euros is built specifically for this boss, don't end up using him anywhere else. Before that, I was using Vergis, and Vergis is an epic, and it's brilliant. He's a high elf epic. He can solo this as well, but again, it takes you about 20 to 30 minutes to do it with Vergis. So it's good for beating this boss once, but it's a pain in the butt. and you cannot farm this boss. And this boss drops really good stuff. He lets you forge untouchable gear, which is the better version of immunity. It's very nice for arena, although, you know, maybe somewhat replaced by stone skin now, but it's still a good option in there, right? It's still good. But there we go, 4 minutes 20, blaze it, 119 turns, and we're good. The boss is down. Boss is down. Simple as that. Now, guys, if you want to figure out the stats that you need, because this is where this build slightly diverges, right? For Dragon Stage 25, the boss is 200 resistance. It's going to be different in Doom Tower. Come over to my Discord channel. You can find links in the description, all the rest. You should be in here anyway. Number one, there's great discussions and fun stuff everywhere in here. And on top of that, there's giveaways. Like there's one running right now. I probably will publish this video today. If I publish it tomorrow, sorry, the giveaway's over. It's ending on the 23rd of July on Saturday at about 2 p.m. Irish time. But yeah, I do these giveaways regularly as part of the content creator program for Raid. Thanks, Plarium. And they send, well, there's going to be 5 winners of 540 gems of Void Shard and Epic Tome. So I have these giveaways going constantly. Do some on my Twitch channel as well. Follow all the links down below. You'll find them all, right? But what I want to draw your attention to over here is we go up into useful info. We got some cool stuff like Hydra stats, all the dungeon and clan boss stats and drop chances. But if we open up, you click this and you open up Doom Tower stages. If I jump on over, here we go. If I full screen this bad boy, here we are. I'm slightly in the way. Let me disappear for a second. Poof. Poof, there we go. Poof, attempt number 2. The second poof worked. We're now invisible. Excellent. You can have all these different Doom Towers. Let's go over to number 1, Frost Spider. You do an old Control F to search, and we type in Borgoth, which is the name of the Scarab King, and you can flick through all the different stages, see all the stats, and obviously this works for every enemy in Doom Tower. But here we are, stage 100 hard. Poof, I'm back. Wow. Here, these are the important things, right? The resistance and the accuracy. So, Borgoth has 250 accuracy. We want to aim for a roughly about 100 resistance more than that, which will give us about 90% chance to resist everything he does. But the stuff that he does isn't that bad. He does decrease speed and decrease attack, and he can provoke you. The provoke is annoying. That will slow you down, so you want to resist the provoke a good chunk of the time. But you can be slightly low on this resistance, and you can be fine. Like, he can debuff you most of the time. You'll actually be okay. So you can slack on that a little bit. For his resistance, you need to beat this so you can actually land your poisons, otherwise it doesn't work. He has 330 resistance, so we'd want to be getting about 330 accuracy. We prefer to be at 350 accuracy, which is quite intensive. Let me go show you now my build here for Tomb Lord. So if you check this out, again, it's almost unchanged from my Tomb Lord guide. Here we go. We've got 339 resistance and only 238 accuracy. So what is going on here? Well, with the resistance, we've got, let's say, 340 for sake of simplicity. 340. We were aiming for 350. So as you can see, we're slightly low on our resistance. We will get debuffed sometimes, maybe about 80, 85% of the time. But that's okay. It's not that big of a deal. You can actually get away with having a bit less. I'd aim for the higher bit, but, you know, if you can't quite get there, you're going to be fine. And it's plenty as well for all the dungeon stages too. Now, we're aiming for 330 to 350 accuracy to beat his resistance. We only have 240. What's going on here? Well, part of it is we get 70 accuracy in Doom Tower battles from Tomb Lord. Fantastic. This makes it much easier. So we add our 70 onto this. Let's say we have 240. We're up to 310. 310 accuracy is still lower than the 330 to 350 that we want, so we do get resisted. It slows you down a little bit, but again, it's not a big deal. You can actually be slightly lower on these stats, and you get away with it. Tomb Lord actually smashes this boss so hard that you're going to be totally fine. So there you go. The big difference, of course, between the Tomb Lord guide and now is I got the bloodshield ring in CVC this week, and that shield is what lets you solo this. It gives you the survivability you need. Other than that, this is the typical Tomb Lord solo build. He's in regen set. He needs that to stay alive. Perception set is optional, but it's effective. I say maybe Immortal set is the best one, but I don't think it's a huge deal. And the stats are this. We aim for about 50k HP, about 2.5k attack, about 220, 225 speed. He can have 85% crit rate whenever you're up against Force Affinity enemies. So stage 23 Ice Golem, 25 Dragon, this Rotation 1, Doom Tower, Borgoth. They're all Force Affinity. You can get away with 85% crit rate. I have him with the pseudo 100% crit rate because I want to use him in, you know, faction wars and stuff as well. It does make gearing him harder, of course. So it's sort of up to you where you want to use him. I try to get him with 100% just to have that flexibility, you know. Attack and crit damage are actually not important at all for this Doom Tower run. So you can absolutely drop those stats. Now, for doing Dragon, they are important. And the reason is that on the Dragon waves, because he depletes turn meter when enemies are below half HP, because he depletes turn meter here with his Blight move, he'll be so fast that they'll never get a turn. So he actually needs to physically kill the enemies, you know? So a bit of attack and a bit of crit damage just speeds up that whole process, and one of the masteries we'll talk about in a second. And yeah, that's basically the build and the logistics behind it. Now, for your masteries, this is quite interesting. So the offense tree is useless for Ice Golem, and it's, well, almost useless for Ice Golem, and it's useless for this Doom Tower run. You don't need this. However, this tree, the offense side of it, really does speed up the Dragon run a lot, right? You're going to get quite a bit of extra damage from Giant Slayer, Wrath of the Slain, all the rest. You're going to kill the waves faster, and that for me is the most important thing to use Tomb Lord for, is to solo that Dragon in 2 to 2.5 minutes. I think if you take away the offense tree, it's probably going to increase to like 3.5 minutes. Probably more like 3.5 to 4 minutes. You know, it's going to be much slower, a lot slower. So it's up to you. It's up to you. You know, for me, I value doing the Dragon stuff faster because that's the sort of thing you're going to run over and over and over, and you want it to get through it quickly, you know, for tournaments and things like that. If you're going just for Ice Golem or just for this Doom Tower boss, ditch the offense tree. You don't need that. And you could send him down the defense tree. You can pick up extra resistance. You could even grab, if you need to, the Unshakable for another 50 resistance. You can grab this stuff and just give him a whole bunch extra survivability, give him more healing, give him less damage taken whenever he's attacked. All that stuff is going to help him stay alive in a pretty big way, you know? The support tree is pretty important, and this maybe Oppressor is probably the tier 6 mastery you'd want to consider here, where you're going to get up to 10% more turn meter fill rate for every debuff you got, stacking up to a maximum of 10%. You're going to max this out almost instantly with Tomb Lord. So you're just going to get a lot more turns a lot more quickly, which is going to let your regen set kick in more. It's just going to make it safer and smoother. So this would be the option for those dungeons. Ice Golem's definitely the hardest one. That's where, especially the second wave, really does a lot of damage. And on Ice Golem, you really don't want Giant Slayer or War Master, which, by the way, both do basically the same thing on Tomb Lord. Without any counterattacks or ally attacks, they're basically the same. These can trigger the retaliation from Ice Golem, so you really don't want them there, you know? But it really speeds up Dragon. Oppressor is the one to go for this boss. With his shield on, the poisons do all the damage. Giant Slayer is basically useless, and you can bring in, just like I did, a couple of nukers to kill the waves, and you'll be good. But yeah, this is basically it. You know, turn meter when debuffs expire, extend your poisons at Master Hexer, more speed when people die. That's why we had a couple of, what was it, Reliquary Tenders in, just from the reserve vault. Throw them in, let them die, and give them some extra speed just to make it super safe. And there you go, Tomb Lord. Follow up with the Tomb Lord guide. Make sure you watch Tomb Lord guide as well. But yeah, you get a blood shield, anything on him, just one blood shield. He just needs that shield to stop the counterattacks, and Scarab goes down. And the nice thing about this is I can now come in, and my Euros, who does really cool stuff. I need to buck him out, of course, but Euros does some really cool stuff with protecting the team. He could do some fun things, but he was built before. You can see he's got a lot of stats here as well. You can compare these two builds and figure out which one is easier for you to do. But Euros, yeah, I don't need him. I can build him now for other stuff as well, which is cool. Tomb Lord in the Dragon solo build easily solos this Doom Tower boss too. Guys, thank you for watching. I hope you found it helpful, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.